Hello, thank you for tuning into this week's Pick a Reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James13 Wicca. Just want to make sure you're seeing it in the right spot. I am doing in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. If you're close to there and you want more information, shoot me an email. I'll let you know what's going on. I'll put the information about the decks and the dice below. Other than that, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching, and let's get into your reading. Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. What do we have for Aries? With a little drum roll. Yeah, a little drum roll there. Why not, right? Why not? All right, so I don't think this is bad, but I'm not living it. Just gonna say that. I think you're fighting yourself. I really think you're fighting yourself. Take it with a grain of salt. For some reason, for those of you that this is gonna hit with, I feel like I'm sticking with something. I'm staying with something. And I know I don't want this. It could be a job very easily, could be a relationship. And if you're doing that, you have good reasons why you're doing what you're doing, like obviously. Obviously you have good reason for what you're doing. The history of this is like, I feel like I believed in something, or I believed in something, or I just didn't know. I just didn't know. I needed time to actually understand the mechanics more. Can we get more about that? There's something about the reason you're even here is because some of it probably looked really good. This reminds me of eating brownies and eating way too many of them. Kind of like, well, it was good in the beginning, and then I ate way too many, and now my body's going, well, now you have to pay the price for doing that. It's kind of like, no, I didn't like that idea. It looked really enticing, looked really good, and maybe they tasted really good in the beginning, and it's kind of like, I think I've had too many, and now my body they just don't taste good anymore. It's like, now they just don't taste good anymore, because I've ate too many of them too many times. I thought this was going to be really good. I didn't think it would be perfect. But I thought this would be fairly good. I thought also the rough edges, we could work them out. Whatever this was, business, pleasure, whatever it may be for you. I think this is one of those situations over the test of time. It's kind of like, you are pretty dynamic. You're Aries, clearly. But like, it kind of reminds me of like, I can't make somebody else a good person. So whatever that means. Wherever that needs to go. It's like, I can't make somebody a good person. I feel like some people you just can't. Like, not you can make anybody anything, but you know what I mean? It's something like that here. Let's just keep moving, because I feel like I am denying my own feelings. And I'm just pretending something's okay that is not okay for me. And it gives me a lot of like hiccups and stuff, kind of like I have to do what I have to do. I feel like I'm trying to create stability. I'm trying to do what I need to do in this situation. You might even be in this situation because, like, for example, if it's a job, I have a family that I have to support, or I have this going on, or I have these responsibilities. I need this X amount of money, and I don't know if I can get this somewhere else. So I'm trying to not let myself think about it like, listen, I got to pay the rent. So just show up and get your job done. Just show up and get your job done. I got to pay the rent. I got to pay this bill. I got to pay that bill. I got responsibilities. I feel like I'm not letting myself think about it, and I'm just bullying it forward. I feel like you're bullying yourself forward. Just do it. Just do it, Aries. Just do it, Aries. Just do it, Aries. And while Aries is very strategic and does things the way they want and has reasons for that, there does come a point every now and then where like if this is just a never-ending train of like I don't really think this is for me and I don't want to be a part of it, but I'm forcing myself to continue. Over time, there's only so much you can take. Even if you're trying to force yourself to be a part of it, and deep down you really don't want it. This is weird that this is here because I feel like this is how I'm at peace with the situation. I'm not letting myself think about it too much. I've known a few Aries in my life, and I remember one person, she kind of gave me that heads up that she did do that. When she didn't want to think about it, she kept herself moving. She didn't let herself think about things, and she just kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. She also did tell me though that if it's really something she couldn't stand, that had a shelf life. Might have a long shelf life, and the way she lived life might have a long one, but sooner or later, and she also did say that it would build up energy. So like the sooner she dealt with it, the easier it would be on everybody. The longer she waited, the more of a punch it would have when it did come forward. Because I'm getting here, this is like floating. Whatever the situation is, I do get that I can easily identify that there's things here that I don't like. Very easily I can identify like there's this I don't like, there's that I don't like. I'm just trying to get along with it. The whole thing isn't perfect, but you know, I gotta pay the bills, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and it does afford me this. I feel like I'm pushing myself in a corner like no, I can do this, no, I need to do this, but I really don't like it. And the energy that's currently coming in is like, if I address this situation and I think to myself, what is this situation going to look like in 2 years? What is it going to look like in 5 years? What's it going to look like in 10 years? What's it going to look like at the end of my life? I feel like the reality is really strong there. The Ace of Pentacles, which is like these two, you got both of these going on. Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. Like, can I really see myself doing this for another X amount of years? Like, what does it look like? What does my life look like in the next 2 years if I continue this path? What does my life look like in the next 5 years if I continue this path? How happy am I? When I said that, I felt that. I'm just like, if you add that in, how happy am I? How happy am I with this situation in 2 years? How happy am I with this situation in 5, 10, rest of my life, whatever? That's going to ignite something there. This might be, I feel like if this reading is hitting, the point is they're like saying, I feel like the universe is literally saying whatever you want to connect that with. This, you weren't meant to just put up with this. You will be safe with whatever you choose. Life might change. For example, if it's a job and you have X amount of dollars and you're like, this is how my family lives while I make this money. You might have to get a job that isn't as lucrative. And you might have to downsize your living accommodations and this and that and how the rest of your family lives. But that doesn't mean that's bad. It may be uncomfortable. It doesn't mean it's bad. You will be protected. You'll be okay. And there's more to learn from this. There's more to life than this. The knowledge is interesting. Is there something I'm missing with that? Because I feel like they're saying there's just more to life than this is what I keep getting. Yeah. You're meant to be happy, and the way this is going, you're not. There's more to life than this. Whatever this is, it's sucking so much happiness out of your life. It's blocking happiness. It's just, that's not what life's meant to be for you. You're meant to have more happiness. You're meant to be more enjoying life a lot more, and it's not there. Take it with a grain of salt. Aries is very strong, and I have some Aries placements, but I kind of get where this is going. You're putting up with something, and it just seems very foreign to me, but you're very strategic too when you need to. So if you're doing it, there's reasons. But you're meant to decide what's right and what's not. You're not meant to just put up with things. That's not Aries. Aries isn't meant to just put up with things. It's just not that energy. You have this energy in your life to use it, to make the judgment, for you to make the decision what you will and will not be a part of. Whatever this is, by making that choice, you inevitably will create an ending to it. It will move on. But you will also have a lot more healing, and your energy will heal. You'll feel better. You'll be stronger, but you'll also bring more happiness back into your life. Because I feel like for a lot of you, it just hasn't been there probably for a while, at least not overall. There's always this energy that's just kind of like holding you back. It'll start with a small step if you decide that. It will start with a small step one way or another. Okay. So I'm seeing more about why they're bringing this forward, because I feel like some of you might be watching this kind of like, well, I've made my bed. I'm going to lie in it. If this is how I finish off this life, then this is how I finish off this life. They're like, well, that's not why we're bringing this. We're not trying to just like aggravate you. That's especially if you're still watching. It's going to start with a small step. The situation will evolve one way or another. You just kind of have a choice whether it just starts to unravel randomly and something random just kind of like brings down the situation on its own, which is not really empowering for you. Or you can choose to make that choice and you can walk away from the situation gracefully and quickly the way you want to. I do feel like this situation, they're like, it's not going to last for the rest of your life. One way or another, it's not going to. By you going towards it, you get to choose and you have more control about what's going to happen, and you're empowered and you keep this from repeating. If the world just takes it from you or changes it on its own, that way this is more likely to repeat in this same lifetime. The last two cards, this is what I was talking about. It's moving on. One way or another, this situation will change. You empowered making that choice, you're less likely to repeat it. Less likely. I can't guarantee anything. Typically, patterns always repeat, but once you recognize them and you're like, I'm not doing that again, just because it shows up doesn't mean you're letting it in the door. You know what I mean? These situations always repeat, so I don't know if this makes sense. Because some people are like, I don't understand why this is coming towards me again. I thought I got over this. You did. Just because it knocks on the door doesn't mean you let it in. If this plays off the way where you're empowered, it's kind of like you're more likely going to be like, oh, wait, somebody's knocking on the door. I'm not opening the door for this one. I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't have to open the door for this one. That might be the whole point of this, for you to be empowered to not let this come back in. But if you just kind of let it happen, you just kind of go with the flow and like, oh, I guess it ended. I didn't really like it anyway. I just feel like it's going to be second nature where before you know it, you've opened the door and then they're walking in. And you're like, oh, I'm in this situation again. Wait, how did this happen? You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. If you're empowered and choose, not likely it'll repeat. Possible, but not likely. If you're like, we'll just see what happens, it will be in back. You'll leave your life, but it'll come back in a different form. It doesn't have to be the same people, but like it's kind of like if you have a job you don't like and it just say you get laid off or it just ends. There's just something you're accepting about the situation. You're like, well, I'm used to job sucking and this one sucks, but it pays what I want, so here we go. Let me start first day of another sucky job. You don't have to do that. If you choose like, nope, no more sucky jobs for me, you'll start going in a different direction. Who knows, you might become your own boss at some point. It's you actively making that decision is what's required for that to change. You're meant to be empowered. You're meant to be in control in this situation, especially this category. And by you choosing, you gain the wisdom and you gain that power and you move your life forward where you want it to be. All right. I think we're done. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.